Welcome everybody to a special edition of the Lexit War Room. We have two special guests, and before we get into it, Miami Martin, our producer, is going to introduce some members that we just have come join the Lexit team. So go ahead, Martin.
How's it going, guys? Josh, Xavier, Jonathan, thank you. What a pleasure to have you guys here, all men in Christ in here. I want to give a shout out to all the Lexit familia out there and everything that you're doing. Thank you for the support. And I just want to introduce to you guys some of the new members that we have. We're very excited. I'm going to go in the order that they came in. Okay, Jesse, you might want to help me out here too. This is Carmen. Can you tell us a little bit about her, Jesse?
She's from Orange County, and she's like a good broadcaster, news person, anchor person, good, but she's great. She's amazing. You guys will be seeing a lot of her. Lately, she'll be doing the Lexit War Room. Me and A-Rod, she'll probably starting next week. But yeah, that's Carmen. She's from Orange County.
Awesome. Okay, now we have here is two sisters, right? The Americana Bellas, conservative sisters. Can you tell us a little bit about them, Jesse?
They're great. They're hilarious. They're funny. You guys have been seeing them. We've been showing them, and they're blowing up everywhere. And they're from Fresno, California. So you guys will be seeing a lot of. We post stuff for them almost every day, so you guys will see them.
Hey, you know, I'm getting a little jealous here because everybody's from the West Coast. So Xavier, Jonathan, you know, we need to get some talent from the East Coast, all right? So if you guys are out there, you guys want to join Lexit, you got some talent, if you just want to join and you're passionate about this country, definitely let us know. All right, hit us out in DM. Next, we have Veronica Rivera, which is she's the daughter of a good friend of ours, Fortino Rivera, who does a lot. As a matter of fact, I think he got an award today from Santa Monica College or something like that. Very excited to have her too, and Orange County too, California, right?
Yeah, Santa. Yeah.
All right, man, you guys are coming strong, and we got the homie. Mr. Sean, official DVS. He's a MAGA rapper. He just finished one of his albums. He's gonna do 7. He's also Christian, and we're very excited to have him with us too. A little bit crazy, but it's all good. That's how we are, right? That's how Hispanics are, right? And he's Dominican. That's his background. And you see him there with our boy Roger Stone, who's a good friend of Lexit too. All right, thank you very much, and I'll be out. And you guys, good luck.
All right.
There you go, Josh. Go ahead, take it away, brother.
What's up, Lexit? It's a pleasure being with you guys today. Josh Lopez here, and I am one of you on this Lexit journey. I am also a film producer, talent agent. With Conflict Studios. Come check us out, conflictstudios.com. With my partners Antonio Zapato Jr., Kaya Jones. Our group is doing some amazing things, man. So we're really excited to be a part of that. Today I'm really excited because Jesse and I have been texting each other, and we're like, hey, bud, you got to get these guys on the show. I want to introduce to you today some amazing Latinos that love God. They're conservative, and they are filmmakers also. These guys are in my inner circle here. Javier and Jonathan Garcia. A little bit about them is they are producers, directors, writers. They have an amazing script, a project they're working on right now called King Cobras. It is a comedy sketch, and it's super cool, man. I've read the excerpts from it and parts of it, and it's just, man, it's I gotta let them tell you about it because it's incredible. But I want to introduce them, Javier and Jonathan Garcia. What's going on, guys?
How's it going? Hey! What's going on? Like I said, I'm excited to be here. This is awesome.
Well, thanks for coming on board. So, first of all, for those of you guys who don't know you, which most of our audience probably won't, but we want to introduce you guys because you guys are familia. As far as I'm concerned, you guys share the same values, everything that we share here at Lexit. And I want our audience, I want our crew to get to know you and who you guys are so they can support your efforts. Javier and Jonathan, tell us a little bit about you guys. How did you guys get involved in this industry and filmmaking? I know we've had these private conversations, but let our people know, man, how you started.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go back to the beginning. We're from Bayamon, Puerto Rico. We're actually born in Bayamon. Kind of a low to middle class. A very interesting past. I mean, kind of our testimony is very unique, and or rather, it's interesting because it is very Latino. My dad actually was, an alcoholic, drug addict, and the very strained relationship between, us, the kids, and my dad, and my mom, and my parents, and which ended up taking us out of Puerto Rico, here to the U.S. just to kind of like start over. And something that was always a part of us during those like really troublesome times was just like, how do we escape? And film was it. Writing, making movies, telling stories. That was always our go-to. Whenever we were like kind of trying to shield ourselves from the craziness that was going on, we were in a little closet, and I was just like little flashlight, just writing, trying to kind of get away from that. And that got developed, and over time, it just became a passion. It just became the way of us like articulating, telling our story. And interestingly enough, just like over the course of just time, my family ended up going back to the church because like they had started in the church and had gone away from it because of just the vices and the environment in Puerto Rico. And fast forward like 20 years later from that point, like my dad, he's our pastor, he's our best friend, and it's like just this beautiful redemption story, how like the Lord just cut addiction right out of his life. And, I was going in the same direction, and the Lord just did the same thing, for me as he did for him. And it was that experience and going through that I was like, wow, the power of just telling that story was enough to even get other people to just themselves kind of give their hearts to Christ. I was like, there's power in storytelling, and it's been a part of us our whole lives. Yeah. So
and around 2007, Xavier and I decided to start a business. Actually, we were called Affiliate Media. And what we did was we first started doing commercial work and just developing our craft in that way, where we ended up in 2012 branching off to partner up with an agency out of Boston, and they were just outsourcing all their media work to us, and we just grew really fast. And at that point, there was a time where we were like, is this what we want to do? We grew up making movies our whole lives, but is this what we want to do? Just commercial work. We were working with big companies like IBM, Saucony, Hologic. These are big Fortune 500 companies, and we're like, well, I don't know. This isn't our passion. And one day, we came to the office, and we came together, and we're like, you know what? We're going to go all in. We're gonna jump in and start doing films, and we're just gonna trust that, by the grace of God, that financially everything's gonna work out. Because when you're plugged into this agency, it's like once you disconnect and you just jump all in by faith to do what God called you to do, it's kind of
you severed that tie there.
Exactly. They're like, oh, you don't want any more? Fine. Then no work came in, and we're going all in doing this, and for years we're doing this, and the Lord just financially provided here and there. And it was as if it was a confirmation for us to be like, all right, this is what we're supposed to be doing. Money's coming in. I mean, somehow we're just being provided for. And so we just kept going with it till one day I had a dream, and my brother had a vision. He said he was in the shower, and I remember this vividly because that day was the first time where actually we got our first assignment from the Lord. And we came together, and I said to him, I had a dream. I want to tell you, I know what God wants us to do for a movie. And he said, wait. Stop. Don't tell me anything. Just let me show you, because I just wrote down, because God spoke to me, and I want to confirm it.
So I had it in writing, and he was going to tell me. So I was just like, okay, you say yours, and if it matches what I've written in writing, like, we know it's God, because I keep a journal. And so he went right ahead, and he was like,
all right. So he handed me the journal. And I didn't open it, but I said it to him so that he couldn't write on it. And so I said it to him. It's a movie. It's a specific biblical story about the story of John the Baptist. And I opened the book, and I saw the story of John the Baptist, and we both began to weep. And we knew that the Lord was really calling us into the film industry and doing this for him. So from that moment on, we've been writing that and writing other things, and God has just really launched us into this.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
That's amazing, man. So how did you guys come up with the the storyline of King Cobras. Like, how did you guys come up with that project? Like, when you guys was it like the same thing where somebody was in one room and somebody else was in the other room, or did you guys collaboratively come together?
Yeah, I mean, King Cobras, so we're in a close relationship with a lot of people in the International Christian Film Festival. And, we connected with people and we discussed, what could we do for the Latino community? We spoke with Jeannie and, she was telling us, what can we do? And I was like, well, we're funny people. I mean, let's find a way to laugh. And we always thought about how could we get a story of Christ inside of this film idea, this storyline of humor, and so we thought of King Cobras, and we thought about how dealing with the whole world of just a pastor who is fully involved in wanting to save a whole community of gang members, but doesn't realize that he's actually mistaken to be some kingpin, and he's launched inside this world, and now he's got to decide whether if he's being called into this or if he's called into ministry full time. And then the Lord actually says and confirms it by saying, yes, this is what I've called you to do. So he's basically like a kingpin by night and a pastor by day type of thing. And so we just started brainstorming from there and started developing the story and what we were going to do. And then it just branched off to what it is today.
Yeah. And so with King Cobras, the men's group of the series that we're creating, the sketch comedy series, what we're trying to do is like something in the same feel as far as like comedy as like Key and Peele, right? It's got that same edgy, really funny style of comedy. But what we want to do is in and around the life of this pastor whom is trying to evangelize and bring the gospel into the streets of Miami, trying to pull out the worst of the worst, to teach them about just like there is a better way. There is a better way, and as he brings them into this men's group. Things start to happen in the community, crime starts to go down miraculously, and everybody's curious about it, like what's going on in this men's group. And every time that this pastor tries to bring a gospel message, it never works out the way that he thinks it ought to work out, right? We always do that. We bring our plan to God, and we're like, God bless it, this is what we're going to do. And it just never goes that way. And the comedy is in the irony. It's a comedy of errors, and how everything and every time there's a meeting, it gets usurped by the crowd and it gets turned into a wild situation. But at the end, the message is always received. It's on the vehicle of laughter. It's on the vehicle of comedy, and so that it's also something that is well received by the audience. I mean, Jonathan was talking earlier when we were talking offline. That quote that just like comedy has the opportunity to disarm. And right. We're at a time right now where people are just like there's a lot of tense. There's everyone's looking for a reason to be upset, to be angry, to be a victim, to be mad, to hurt one another, or to, blame somebody else. And we're like, if we don't come up with something soon, where we can all just laugh and relax and actually dialogue, the laughter can cut through all of that tension and bring us all to that same place where we can actually just dialogue, and they can hear, for example, the story, not just of like Latinos and the cultural idiosyncrasies of who we are as people, but also like the gospel message that's infused into that. So that's kind of like the whole story in a nutshell. It's a little bit of the passion behind it too, and what we're trying to accomplish. And we're really excited. We're pumped because we haven't seen anything like this, specifically, from the Latino perspective. And so we're going to be pulling from our past, pulling from some of the weirdest and goofiest and wackiest experience that we've had as kids, whether growing up in Puerto Rico or even here in the U.S. It's going to be fun.
Thank you. That's awesome. I think that's a good way to look at it, bringing letting everybody know that may not agree with you or may not grown up with you, showing that you're normal and you have situations that are just like everybody else, and that brings people together. I think those are things right away when people turn you off or tune you out when the conversation, they may not like what you're hearing. When they see that you're normal and they see that you're funny and they see that, hey, I kind of grew up that way, but we think different. Like, what the heck? You know what I mean? I definitely think that's dope, but yeah, that's awesome. Go ahead, Brother Jess.
Yeah, it just sounds like an amazing storyline. And I just think it's going to resonate well with Latinos because for how you're talking about gangs and just all that kind of stuff. It's gonna, because I've been all over the place, and I've even been into the White House. And when people hear my story about ex-gang member, how I came to Christ and all that, everybody always tells me like, "Oh my, I grew up in the barrio," or "My cousin was in gangs." Like I just hear, like it just resonates hard with the Latino community. And so I just wanted, but my question was, do you find it difficult to be a Latino conservative in that industry, Christians in that industry?
Man, we're in the Northeast. We're in Boston. We're a rare breed up here, you know. You know, Latinas, and you've got Latinas. You've got a couple of cities that are predominantly Latino. We were talking earlier. You've got Lawrence, Chelsea, Lynn. You know, some of these cities, and some beautiful people and some beautiful, you know, men specifically that like love the Lord and run some really great ministries, feeding the homeless. You know, like even some of the ministries that we work with, but like the numbers. They're few, and then Boston, although it's up and coming, if you will, in the film industry, it hasn't traditionally been, you know, a film city. You've got your individuals here and there that come out of here, you know, like your Afflecks and your Damons, but like predominantly it's not known for film. And so like now you've got then the faith component. So here's like three things working against us, you know, like Christian men, conservative Christian men in this area. It's just not known. Boston is known for, you know, its progressive education, you know, and the pharmaceutical industry up here. There's like a college or a university on every street corner. And we already know like what that's all about. And so, yeah, to answer your question, Jesse, yeah, it's tough. Absolutely. But it's like, we know we're called here. And there have been many opportunities, and you know, many people have said, "Why don't you, you know, Georgia? Like that's the next place, or you know, try LA, or try, you know, go down south, go to Texas." And we're like, the Lord has given us this assignment here. You know, He has a heart for this area. There are some really amazing. I mean, look, the gospel was introduced into the United States through Massachusetts. Right? I mean, you've got Plymouth, you've got Salem, you know, you've got Winthrop, and those three cities are spiritual gates where the gospel entered. And so like God, I feel like has a heart for this area and wants to redeem this place. And so he's going to use those that are saying, "Here I am, God, use me." And that's us, like trying to use the gifts and the talents that we have to communicate a message of righteousness, of truth, you know, of love, of the Lord, of the kingdom. And doing that through comedy, I think, is just a way where people can be like, "Oh, like you were saying earlier, that's not weird. It makes complete sense. These guys are normal. They're just like me. They're going through the same exact situations as me." And so although it's difficult, there's a blessing because it's where God wants us. And so we find the joy in that. And, you know, it's like, all right, we know where we're supposed to be. So let's just head focused and keep trucking forward.
Yeah, it's just a blessing because we need more conservative stuff, because now it's getting to the point where me and my wife, we can't even watch TV no more. Like even the Disney channels all trying to push the gay agenda, just like everywhere. You can't even watch regular TV because the commercials are just totally ridiculous. So I'm just grateful that for you guys doing this. I'm grateful for like you guys in Conflicts, what they're doing, just trying to push more conservative content. That's what we need in this country. So I'm just very appreciative of you guys, everything that you guys are doing, and we support you guys. And go ahead and go, Josh.
Yeah, man, dude, that's exciting. I love your story. I love your story a lot because really, as a filmmaker, you guys have kind of made a decision, which is awesome, because typically when people go into the industry, it is solely on the secular side. And it's like, I mean, you guys know that doing commercials, it's like that's where the money is at. That's where everything of the glitz and glamour is on the secular side. That's why everybody goes to Hollywood. They don't go to Hollywood to become Christian movie actors and Christian film. You know, they go there for the secular side of what that entails. So I'm just really, I love the fact that you guys had a calling, and instead of going through the hoopla that, of course, people like myself had to go through that whole horrible side of Hollywood and witness all that entailed before the Lord kind of hit me upside my head, and I came directly to Him. So it was really, really cool. I've got so one of our mutual friends, Laura May. What's up, Laura? I know you're watching tonight. Laura's really, really awesome. She runs a group called Christian Casting. social media, a really good friend of ours. And so Laura calls me up and says, "Hey, I've got this project I'm going to be casting for. You got to like check it out. Like these guys are awesome, and I think you'd like it." And of course, she didn't say because you're Latino or anything like that, but she, I definitely know you'll like it. And she said, "But also, just so you know, like she knows I'm a Christian. She doesn't know my background necessarily of how like what my life was really like before Christ. But she says, there's this." There's a lot of lingo, a lot of slang, a lot of stuffed language that may not, that you might not feel. I said, Laura, like, first of all, to reach our people, you have to be real with the culture, and you have to not really sidestep in a sense. This is language that we grew up with. It doesn't offend any of us. We're okay with the chancla and the nowadays people, you get the police called on you if you beat your kid with the chancla. That's the stuff we're okay. We're okay with that stuff. Tell us how, your reasons for wanting to make it so realistic in the terms of the slang, in terms of La Raza and the culture, and how you intertwine all of that without apologies. You know what I'm saying? Because you really can't. I respect and I really, really admire when people are just, you have to make it real in a sense to where it's not. It's not. You can respect it and know that, okay, these people are not just sidestepping the culture and whatnot, by at the same time being respectful of the culture. You know what I'm saying? It's a weird fine line that most wedos don't know how to balance that. Most gringos don't know how to balance that whole aspect. Or are we offending? Are we not offending? But with us, it's like, hey man, we're okay with that. We're okay with the name calling. We're okay with the gestures. We're okay with all of that. Tell us how you guys just came up with, like, we're going to do it this way. No apologies, and just prepare our audience, because if you're expecting like a sugar coating type of scenario, you're not going to get it here. It's going to be really cool, cutthroat, to the chase of who our culture is and what we do. Tell us a little bit about that.
So one of the things that Xavier and I knew, that in our writing, ever since we were kids, we were always had some sort of edgy twist, something surprising. And we were always asking Lord, like, what is this that you're showing us? What do you call this? And it was very simple to us. A lot of people, they do their faith-based, and that's what God called them to do. But I think what we lean more towards is parabolic. And we're telling real stories. And we have to share real stories because people actually connect with real stories. We can do a storyline and it could become caricature and people won't connect that way. But if you bring them to realistic scenarios, then it's like, yeah, that happened to me just a second ago, and they can laugh with it. And, when we're talking about truth, we can't play around with that. It has to be a real truthful experience. Like you guys were mentioning earlier, a spoonful of laughter makes the truth go down. Well, if we're introducing laughter, and it's this massaging of, someone to be able to hear that truth. And so, yeah, it's edgy. It handles the awkwardness of things in the gospel that no one wants to talk about. But when you talk about it, it's like, it's hysterical. And that's what we want to, that's how we want to approach this script.
That sounds fun.
And we want to follow the story, right? It's like, for us, stories first. Now, how we write it, Scripture says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? And so it's like, we don't have to force the gospel into it. It's in us, right? So it's going to come out because we're doing the work. We are doing the prayer. We are doing the Bible studies. We're doing the meetings, so like the gospel's in us. So we're just going to write the great story and let that just come out of the real scenarios that we're creating, the stuff that we know we've lived with, and people that share, that Latino, Hispanic background can it'll resonate with them because they're real, you said, getting the chancla, I got chancletazos, and the belt, and that's cultural. Like, we relate. We're like, oh yeah, like chuleta, adobo, chancleta, like all of that, we relate, and just throwing the that kind of truth where we can look back to our past and our lives and be like, yeah, man, my life was just like that. Like, what do they have to say about that now? And then the gospel message is fused into there too, for them to understand, family, values, just like that kind of stuff, the truth of and the sweetness of the word.
Man, I love that. And if I may just interject on that part, I love that because it really intertwines just the culture in general. You can be Mexican American, you can be Boricua, you could be Dominicano, you could be anything, and it kind of all resonates together because it's almost the same melting pot where all the jokes are like really intermingled because that's the way our cultures, that's the way that's the way our moms are, our grandmothers. It's the way it all kind of, it's weird, but it's in our blood in a way. That's what makes it funny, and that's what makes it awesome. And I love that. And by the way, Jesse, just so you know, if you don't know, I think I shared you a little bit about his story, but this guy was straight gangster, got shot, paralyzed, and he's one guy I want to do a movie on. Like, man, that may be something we go in together on this thing. But his story is phenomenal. And so, yeah, this is if anybody knows that culture and understands the King Cobras, that men's Bible study or any of this, you're speaking his language, man. I love it.
All right. You know, one of the things when Xavier and I were writing this thing, our goal, so we have not just one, but many family members who are atheists. And, you know, they don't want to hear the gospel. They don't care to hear the gospel. But we're like, we're going to write the script. If we make you laugh, we know we nailed it. And all I got was LOL, love it, love it, love it, love it. And I'm like, there we go. I mean, if we can approach him to hope in his heart just to hear this, because the gospel's in there, and he loves it, then that is, you know, that's that, you know, entering in. He can digest that truth, and it's sweet to him.
It's huge, man. That's huge.
Yeah.
Hey,
Rod.
for sure. Yeah, you know what? When you guys were talking, right now, okay, real quick, I want to shout out to Mario. He's another Latino that's watching. Told him I was gonna give him a shout out. So shout out to Mario Jimenez. Mario. You know what I was thinking? I tripped out on this, and being growing up like a church kid, I always tripped out because I had two separate parts of the family, where one part of the family was gang members and murders and locked up. Another one was straight up like super Christian, like my mom skirt dragging down to her ankles or whatever. Tyler Perry, right now. Okay, so I went to a friend's house that didn't grow up in church, and he was watching a Tyler Perry movie, and I was thinking to myself, Tyler Perry's Christian. It's like conservative. You know what I mean? Like, why would you find it? Like, what do you have that's like, what is this so interesting? But it was the comedy that got them, and they didn't believe in God at all, but they believed that the comedy. So to me, I totally get what you're saying. So here's my question. I got kids. How important is it to get our people involved in media, given the political narrative right now, seeing that what they're doing to our kids' minds?
That's a tough question. I mean, we feel strongly that, you know, as Christians, every single person has a calling, and none of it is ever too small, and all of it is important. You know, as the Bible says, some send, some go, right? And the calling is for the body, and we've all been gifted in unique ways. I mean, I've just hearing even Jesse's testimony, I was listening to it the other day, just like through PragerU, and I'm just like, man, wow. And here he is realizing that calling and doing his part. Now, we all have talents. We all have gifts. For us, it's in the media and it's in filmmaking. And so it's like we're recognizing our past, how the Lord brought us through like a lot of grime, right? Because like we didn't grow up in the church. We grew up very much in the world. And God using all of those worldly, terrible experiences and redeeming them and saying, now I'm going to use the gifts and the talents that I've put into you to also, you know, to put out that, you know, truth. And so like talking about like what's just going on today, like that's our part. That's the part that we're playing. That's what the part that we're doing. And every single person has a different part. Like there are people out there, for example, with deep pockets that like perhaps they're not necessarily the filmmakers, but they can send filmmakers because they may be the ones that's like, look, I got kids and I want content for my kids and I'm not a filmmaker, but I want to bless you for you to be able to do what you need to do to put out the content that we want to watch, you know, and like that's kind of, you know, and I don't know if I answered the question fully, but like, that's kind of like how I see it, you know, everybody's got a part to do in this, and no one's going to do it for us, right? It's like we're the ones that are wanting and desiring a change, and so it's got to come from us, right?
Yeah, and you know, there's so much content out, for instance, in TikTok and all these social media. There's so much stuff out there that is pulling away our youth. It's just completely stripping them from any understanding that is biblical, that is even morally sound, or just basic natural law. And, you know, how do you snatch them out of the fire? And I believe, just like you guys have mentioned, I believe comedy is such a strong way to just give them an opportunity of fresh air to stop digesting what they're taking in, and just sowing a little seed so that someone else can water it, and someone else can completely continue to work on it. And, you know, I know there's so many mothers, so many parents who are praying for their children to get out of that world. And I believe that, you know, these things, these films, this content, complex films, and doing these comedy stuff is that tool to be able to get something in their eyes instead of what they're watching.
But like, let's not joke ourselves. We can't also just hide behind faith as a shield and not put in the work too, because the content has to be excellent. Right. You got to do the work.
And that's what I think is missing too. And like I said, growing up, I mean, I left church and I came back, but growing up in church, it's kind of sad. There was nothing really like when we went to Bereans, it was like the movie you would pick out was like the cheesiest movie ever, and you know what I mean? Like, you're competing with like funny stuff. Like, I remember my mom was like, "Turn off that," at a young age. She's like, "Dumb and Dumber, that's dumb." Watch the movie when these two, you know, lovebirds go eat ice cream together, and God comes down in a chariot and picks them up, and I'm like, I don't want to watch that. So to me, I think this is awesome because it's being real, and a lot of times I think because we live in a time where TikTok and social media is so accessible when it comes to children, we want to act like we're living in this fake la world. They're beating us to the punch. They literally are beating us to the punch, while a lot of these parents are like, no, don't do that. No, don't do this. Don't give that. And a lot of times it's like, hey, look, they're watching at the friend's house. They're watching it when you're not in the room. So why not give them something like you guys are doing, where maybe there's a lesson to be learned in some of this? Maybe it's just a little more cleaner than other stuff, or it's coming from a faith-based young man like yourself. So I think that's awesome. When Josh was telling us about all this, at first I remember having dinner with Josh in DC, and he was talking about it, and I remember because I was overwhelmed with everybody that was there. We just heard Trump speak, and I remember Josh telling us, and then when we left, my wife was saying, "Hey, did you really hear what he said he was doing?" And I was like, yeah. She goes, no. So we talked about it on the airplane ride home, and I was like, wow. And then as more and more I'm hearing about it, I was thinking to myself, man, that's so huge. If it really could get to the level that it should be at, I could see this just like kind of what Tyler Perry did, but making a huge impact, like huge. And I hope it does, bro. And it sounds like what you guys got going on is super awesome.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
sure.
It sounds like, to go off what Aaron was saying, I was agreeing 100% what he was saying. That's why to me it's a great avenue through comedy, because we also got to make sure that it's entertaining, especially to go after the youth, especially when we have to compete with all the rappers and all this other stuff. Like, they're gonna be like, well, Christian movie, we don't want to watch that. But if it's funny and like that's a way to attract them. But I also think parents got to make sure too, if you are Christian parents, to make sure kids watch good stuff, good content. You know, like, hey, turn off that whatever crap and we'll come and watch this movie with us, or what, like, you know, because then the kids want, like, if they are having a negative attitude, but then they're watching it, they're gonna be like, you know what, this was good. And I like it. I mean, maybe that's what they do. And another thing too is that Christians need to start, because Christians always complain, we don't got nothing for us, and it's so bad, and always blah blah blah. But then when Christian movie and show and things do come out, they don't support it. So that's one thing. Like, me and my wife, we always make sure anytime there's a Christian movie that comes out, we go and see it, and we try to encourage others, like, don't just complain and all that, whatever. You need to get out there and support these movies and shows and things that are coming out that are faith-based. Don't just talk about it and complain. Be about it. That's why I want to ask you, what could us and other people watching, what could they do to help support your guys' efforts in all of this stuff?
Yeah.
Share. I mean, today, the power of social media is actually, like, sometimes astounding, right? Like, you look at series like The Chosen, right? A lot of that success is coming from the viral, I like to call them brand disciples, right? The people that know know the content, know the show, and they just talk about it. The moment that you see something that you like, it's the greatest compliment to the filmmakers and the producers that, you know, like you're talking about it and you're sharing it and you're, you know, passing it on. It's up to us, the filmmakers, to make something that's good, right? Like that's on us, right? That's the onus is on us to make something excellent. But when it is, you know, passing that on and getting that out there, because it's like, that's what's going to get the momentum and the ball rolling, right? In order for people to know more and more and more about it, especially when it starts small. Like, not a lot of people, you know, like these small budget, independent little projects coming out of like the Northeast, when it's, you know, a Latino conservative, you know, faith-based thing. It's like people are gonna be like, what is that, from where? No, you know, so getting the word out, sharing, and then the support. I think I saw a comment there from Jeannie Garcia, which, by the way, Jeannie,
I saw that.
Like,
So
you know, funding, you know, funding it holds back, you know, like not having proper funding. Yes, look, I'm gonna be the first one to say, like, you can make a movie with this, like, you absolutely can. You can, and it's not necessarily about the hardware, it's about the filmmaker. However, you know, in order to compete with some of that stuff, you know, like the Dumb and Dumber versus the two couples eating ice cream thing, it's like the funding is going to bring it to that level that we're all used to seeing, that is excellent. It's like, no, I want the quality that will speak to me, that will, you know, artistically attract me. So, like, funding is definitely crucial. So it's like, if you're hearing this podcast and it's something that you love, like, yeah, share it, but then also, you know, help out.
I think you guys are onto something real quick. I think you guys are onto something really good, because you guys, I'll be honest, I'll be straight up, you guys don't seem corny. You guys don't seem corny to me. And I don't know if I've ever met a corny Puerto Rican. I don't know.
Hey.
But yeah, I don't know.
It's true.
But here's the thing. I'll be honest with you, because when it comes to check it out, when it comes to like Christian rap, like, I'll just be honest with you, when it comes to like the alternative to something. I mean, they're like, there's Eminem, and then there's like the white Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, there's always that one, and you're like, they're trying to sell you that. You're like, I get it, but it's like corny. But you guys don't. To me, I love that you said. I love what you said, Xavier, when you said we're being us, but because we have God inside of us, that shows in our filmmaking, and that's so true. That right there is what going to be authentic, because it's not like you guys are sitting there going, okay, let's talk about the Bible and let's add funny to it. It's like, let's be us, and because we're being us, we're going to talk about, hey, you know, we went to church and we did X, Y, and Z, or hey, we did this and we might have. So I think that's dope. I think that's super dope.
Yeah, man, I really dig that about what you guys are doing. We're going to say something, Jess?
Yeah, I'll definitely share it, and I encourage everybody else to share your content when it comes out. Especially, we have, you know, Hollywood and the enemy and all that's going to be against you with censorship, like on big tech. They even right now, as we're speaking, our live right now is being shadow banned bad. But so we have all of that against us, the enemy, all of that. So all you believers, make sure you share and support. But go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's a huge part in what we do, is the power in network. You know, the power in network is huge. Every one of us right now represents a network of people, of family and friends on our social media. So the best way you can help, number one, is share that. Number two is exactly what Jeannie Garcia said on there, man. You know, the funding on our projects is so difficult, man, to get people. You know, our people sure do like to complain. They like to complain about what's not there and what's, you know, oh, this is not good, and if only it was done better, or no, but it's always you know, it's always some type of complaining, but nobody wants to help with their pocketbook. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we could really use the assistance on any project, any faith-based film. And what's so cool about it is that you know, with our community, our inner circle, we're all here to help each other, which is awesome. Because when I got this call, I'm like, dude, I'm here, man. I told these guys, look, I'm here 100%. I'm supporting you guys. Anything that we can do, whoever we need to tap into. I mean, if we need to, whatever we need to do, you let me know. And our Christian community, Christian casting is another big. I know a lot of people are watching from there right now too. Like, guys, come support the efforts of this. Right now, we have it seems like every race has a grasp on their entertainment, from shows, TV shows, movies, whatever. You have pretty much almost every race accounted for except for us. You know what I'm saying? Why? My question is why don't we have it?
If you guys ever do get all big, whatever, consider me and A-Rod to come on an episode.
Yeah, bro. Hey, look I'll be the guy selling corn in the background, bro. It's all good.
Let's get it done.
Let's play the ZZ Top dude right there.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, the whole goal, I guess, for all of this, really, guys, is going to be to make sure that because I truly believe that this has the ability to become like a chosen type scenario. I really do believe that to be an episodic that continues, because I think our people. See, one thing about our people, sometimes you're either fully supportive or you're a hater. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so weird. It's so weird that our culture's like that, man. For me, it's like I want to see our people elevate. You know what I'm saying? I want to see our people become successful. I want to see our people get off of the system. I want to see our people be able to become self-sufficient. I want to see our people be able to do amazing things, because that's a badge for our people, man. With African-American people, man, they support each other. It's like, dude, they gang up and they support, and they're like, we need that within our culture, especially with this project here, because I really believe this project is going to touch a lot of people where they are, because it's real. It's about real life, about real culture, and it is going to reach those guys, your family members that are lost. It's going to reach those family members like Jonathan Javier's their atheist cousin or uncle, whoever was it. It reaches people like that. So if you really want to see some change in your community, in your family, in your friends, come join us in this effort, guys. How can they? I know you guys have a Kickstarter. Give them tell us about your Kickstarter. How can we get involved?
So it's we have a Kickstarter campaign going on, and as well as a PayPal link going on. It's kind of long. I know it's Kickstarter.com, King Cobras, and there's like /King Cobras film, but maybe we can post it up or we could share it on the comments. But we have those two ways of funding it. The Kickstarter campaign, if you don't have an account, if you don't have an account, it would probably be easier going through PayPal, because that's just a simpler process. You don't have to open an account, and you just give whatever it is that's in your heart. The Kickstarter campaign does have perks, though. If we're trying to give merch, try to get some T-shirts, and then other fun, cool things that we give away, posters and stuff like that. So that's the cool thing about the Kickstarter as well. So we have those two as options. Yeah.
Also, where is it going to be playing? Like, where can people view it?
So this is something we got to talk to Josh about, because we can make something big happen. As of right now, we're planning on filming the first 4 episodes, and we're working on our distribution. We've got some ideas. I mean, we've been saying that at least to land the first one, the pilot, just to get the flavor out there, we're going to just put it on YouTube. But I mean, we can come up with other ways to do this, so it's more, so it's accessible for people just to have it, to get it out there.
Yeah. But no, you guys are coming. You guys are going to come on our conflict stream site. You guys are going to be part of our. So we'll make sure that we can get you guys on there, man. So you have a home. And we'll platform you guys on that realm, because I think this is going to be huge, and we're gonna do some big things together, guys. I already foresee that, and then we'll be having our own Latino Oscars. It'll be called called the Pedros or something. Really cool.
The Si Se Puedes.
There you go. Big names that are conservatives, like maybe like Paul Rodriguez or.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I would love to get Paul on there. Jingle Bling. I want to get Tito. I want to get Tito to come on board. Tito, if you're watching, man, come on, man. That'd be awesome. I mean, I'm reaching out to Mario and Antonio Zapato and all those guys, man. We're gonna try to get some really good stuff happening.
Yeah, no, our scripts we're really quick with them, and what we do is we love putting cameos for people, and yet the cameo characters do the wildest things. So I mean, once they read it, they'll be like, "I'm in." Masvidal
would be awesome.
Yeah.
Jorge Masvidal. Oh man, Dude, that is
Martin
that'd be
was
awesome.
Manning the other day. Martin
Oh man,
Miami last week.
that'd be awesome to get George, man. George is shoot, that guy's bad.
Yeah.
You guys, there's a PayPal link. It just popped up. Check it out. Donate. Be a part of it. And also check out King Cobras on Facebook, on social media platforms. Like them. Go follow Jesse. Follow Javier, Jonathan on their handles as well. And man, be a part of this. Be a part of this movement, man. It's going to be really big. And so as it grows and it becomes massive, and you guys are at the ground level of it, man. I would love. I mean, are you guys accepting any submissions for talent? Are you guys accepting any ideas for script ideas, anything like that for some of your episodes?
So definitely talent right now. We've got a couple of spots available for recurring characters. Where the hardest thing to find in New England is an abuelo. We need an abuelo, and I keep thinking about my own grandfather. But my grandfather's like 90 and in Puerto Rico, and he's losing like his eyesight. So it's like he ain't gonna work. No, but we need some talent, some actors that are abuelos, 65 and above. Like that's the one that we've had the toughest time to cast, and like time is crunching with that. And then we've got a cameo, Tio Robin, who's you guys. My dad, I love my dad to pieces, but like whenever I talk to my dad, sometimes he throws at me idioms that don't quite translate. You know what I'm talking about? Like they talk, but you're like, okay, aquí en el cuchillo, you're gonna take it, and he's like, but he'll translate it and he'll say, you'll take at the knife, you take a left. I'm like, you mean the fork? Yeah, and so Tio Roman is a guy that just speaks in in those idioms and stuff, and it turns into a big mass confusion. So
dude, that sounds like my uncle. My uncle says, "Hey, just like the Bible says, an apple a day keeps the doctor away." He makes up his own scripture, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
He makes up his own scripture, like the Bible says. Yeah, it's like he makes up his own scripture, man. It's hilarious.
Yeah. So but I mean, and we're always looking to collaborate. So talent, absolutely, because the episodes are going to grow. We're going to be having cameos in there. We're going to be, taking it. We've got some pretty cool ideas for even a couple of episodes, doing some stuff that's going to be wild. It's going to be funny. So
yeah. You guys, Becky too. She's out in New York.
Oh yeah.
Becky, she's Puerto Rican.
You guys need some music.
She's got a whole family stuff. Yeah, she's tight.
Bro, if you guys need some music, Becky is. Yeah, man. She might be a soundtrack opportunity. She's bad. She's awesome. She's another one of our Lexit members. But guys, Lexit family, man, you guys watching. I know this thing goes all over the place. Lexit is massive. Guys, share it. Be a part of this. Like I said, this thing could be really, really big, and we need your support. We need our people to support this and be a part of this, because again, it's life changing. I really believe it is. It's life-changing, and when it comes to entertainment, we have to. If we're involved in entertainment, we have no choice but to do stuff like this, because this is where God has us, and we either. The knife in the road. We either go one way or we go the other. And we have no choice. We have no choice but to do some amazing stuff.
Right now, brother, and with the times we're living in right now, it's crunch time. It's crunch time. Last days, Jesus coming soon. The world's getting evil by the day, and it's just getting all terrible. Everybody could see it, so it's even more important to have some good stuff.
Yeah, it's a perfect timing, because now a lot of people during the pandemic, a lot of people, of course, were staying home. So they started digging into more of what they were watching. A lot of things were exposed, as far as, whether it was Disney or whether it was whatever it was, right? So a lot of people are sharing stuff, but after a while, you run out of things to share. I remember a while back, Jess was like, watch this movie, this movie, this movie, this movie. Within a week, I was done with all the movies, and I'm like, what do I watch?
I've watched all of Netflix.
My kids are like, bad. We don't watch no rated R or nothing like that. We watch some hard.
You can only watch the 10 Commandments so many times. So no, I get what you guys. Yeah, I get what you guys are doing, bro. And this is just for me and Lexit. We're gonna support it, bro. As much as we could share, we'll share, and we'll tag the biggest people that we know. And I feel like this is the way it gets started. And it sounds like you guys are onto something good, so it even makes it easier, because people are probably going to be like, that's dope. I like this. We'll continue to share this. It's kind of hard to pass it on when it's garbage. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
this doesn't seem that way at all. Just what you're explaining, because
Chupacabras.
Josh, yeah, because real quick, it reminds me of my dad. My dad backslid when he was like right when I turned like 1 year old, and it came back to God when I was 17. My mom stood in church the whole time, but for some reason, my dad had the family, like all my family, convinced that he was like the prayer warrior, but he was like horrible at leading like the prayers, right? So he had this thing where he would be at Christmas, and all the family would be there, and they would be like, "Okay, Johnny, go ahead and lead the prayer." And he knew that we knew he didn't know, so he would look at us right away, right? His kids, and we would stare at him. He would get like 2 words out, and then he would just
It's like you look at him one eye, you're like,
he would like, if he got the Holy Ghost, he would be like, "Everybody bow their heads," and he didn't know what to say, and he'd be like, "Oh Jesus," right? So that was like his way out of it, right? So everybody would start like, "Oh, he's feeling the spirit," but we knew that this dude started to choke hardcore.
You didn't know, dude, that is awesome. See, guys, it's stuff like this. It's stories like this that make great content, because I know, dude, I have a ton of really good, like hilarious stories of my grandmother and my grandfather, man, just stuff they've done in their, their lives and the culture. And only the culture could really understand and get, because it probably wouldn't be as funny, outside of the culture. But man, this is hilarious. So this is great, because I really, is there, man, I'm really excited about this whole situation too. For casting, I know Laura May, she just popped up there about casting. She's the casting director on this. I know that there's a way to get in touch with her. Laura, if you're on, pop your email address on there for anybody who can fit into those character descriptions on that breakdown. As this grows, I'm sure those character breakdowns are going to grow extensively. The ultimate goal is to just have these to continue episode after episode and continue these things going. And characters are probably going to continue with more characters and things like that. And as the budget grows and it becomes, a part where we're flying people in and doing stuff like that, and it's not just there in Boston, but possibly even other locations. I don't know, man. I'm thinking big. I'm already speaking for you guys, man. Sorry.
Hey, man, we're trying to film in Miami, so
I'm getting excited about this. Yeah, that'd be great.
There he is. Get him.
There's a man. Yeah, dude. This guy's bad. You know the story of this guy, George? Do you guys know this story, Javier? Jonathan, this UFC fighter.
So I know who he is. And I know he's very outspoken, and he's very conservative, and he's has a strong voice. I saw a speech. It's brilliant, man.
I started following this guy, watching him on Backyard Brawls. He used to just fight in the backyard, like backyards with like Kimbo Slice and these guys, that whole group. He was fighting just like straight up street fights that were videotaped for YouTube, and they became huge. This guy was like fighting for like $20, man, and just like bloody crazy. And he came in there and just like swept the UFC, just made some massive noise in mixed martial arts. Great guy, maybe a really good opportunity there. I know he's in Miami. Might be a good opportunity to connect. I know some of our Lexit guys know him really well. Tito Ortiz, some of these fighters, might be a cool little show in a fighting situation. Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like you have to get what's trending. For instance, like if we want to reach the youth, the thing that you want to get is what's trending, what's out there, what's hysterical, the things that are funny, and that for them is like it's food. It's food for them, and that's what they digest at night when they're in bed, in the morning when they wake up. And how great would it be to put something a little different that's just as funny, but makes them think about the thing that they have been watching. And so that's really the goal for this thing.
Yeah. I just think that thank you guys for coming on, because usually we do mostly politics kind of stuff, but it's just good to show that Lexi, we're just down to help other Latinos, you know what I mean? That we help you, and then you guys are Christians and all that, sharing the gospel. We just love all of that, because everybody knows at Lexit we put God first above all things, and we always share the gospel bold. So I just want to thank you guys for coming on. Go ahead, A-Rod, if you want to say anything.
Thank you, Jesse. And something you just said regarding politics, the left is doing this already. They've controlled the media. Yep. They are putting their content out there and brainwashing the masses with things that just don't make sense. And this, in a way, is that tool for us to bring them back, to pull them back to reality, to truth, to conservative values, to basic natural law, and being like, wait a minute, I got this far, giving them a chance to bring back, bring them back.
No, I think
King Cobra's movie. That's the handles for Facebook and for IG.
Yeah.
Facebook movie. All right.
I think you guys, what you just said about the political thing, I think that's huge, and that's one thing that this last election, not to get all political, but this last election, when it came to Republicans, the conservative vote was higher with Latinos, and I truly believe it's because of our values. And a lot of them came from Florida because where they came from, right? They're like, okay, we don't want socialism. We don't see it. So
yeah, hardworking.
Right. So when you're giving them and saying, hey, check it out, we're like this. We're not like that. Let's bring it back. Let's take it down a notch. Let's just remember, it's about family. It's about God. It's about situations that are not always all holy, and it goes here and it goes there. I think that's life. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I love it, guys. And to close off again, some of our Lexit people, man, if you guys want to be a part of this financially and be a part of blessing these guys, blessing my brothers here to keep this going and make it something special. I think on the Kickstarter you can win some merch. By the way, if you guys get some merch, man, I'm going to want one of those hats for sure, King Cobra's hat. But some really cool incentives.
Dope,
right? Dude, that's crazy cool, man. So whenever you guys get, if you guys get a chance, Kickstarter or PayPal, check it out. Be a part of it. Go like their page and just join this movement. We got to start something big, and our people need to. I'm part of Conflict Studios, and we're doing the same thing, but we have got to unite to make this happen. And I care that much about our people to make sure that our people are in the middle of it. I don't want to just see all these movies being done on all these other cultures and all these other people taking their movies and the sitcoms and everybody else. Our people need to step up to the plate. And if we're not doing it, then nobody else is going to do it for us. So join us, man, please.
Right.
Yeah. That's King Cobras with an S, the Cobras.
Yes.
The Cobras movie. Yeah.
Not to be mistaken for Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
I
was like, Ralph Macchio?
Better.
Yes. Strike hard, strike first.
But thank you for coming on, guys.
Thanks, bro.
I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. God bless you.